Now, Brian Neiman, Brian Wilson, Mary Catherine Ham, today's newsmakers, and you, the Morning Majority. 101.9 AM 630. WMAL.
It's time for the Redskins Report, presented by Fork Union Military Academy. Oh, hail, it's the Redskins. That's what the Giants were saying yesterday. Did you see that one coming? The Redskins defeating the Giants 23-10. Rex Grossman having a pretty good game. Eli Manning not getting it done. And, boy, what a performance by the defense. Trevor Matich is standing by on the line to give us his assessment of it. Well, Trevor, I got to tell you, I'm pleased. Well, I didn't see it coming.
No, I tell you, this was kind of weird because the Giants were one of the hottest teams in the NFL. Certainly coming after their win against the Dallas Cowboys, it looked like they had stopped their losing ways. Eli Manning is one of the hottest quarterbacks in the NFL. The Giants' defense had come around, and it looked like that the Giants were set up to just steamroll the Redskins. But turned out that the Redskins have been playing as well as almost anybody in the NFC. Not everybody, but the last 2 weeks, the Redskins look like a completely different football team.
Well, what's going on there? What is happening?
You know, I think what's going on is that the young players that have been forced to play because of a ton of injuries have stepped up and began to play very well together, or at least improve together. Remember, the Redskins started 3-1, but then Rex Grossman threw 4 interceptions against Philadelphia in that next game, in their 5th game of the year, and then he was benched in favor of John Beck. At the same time that happened, the Redskins had a ton of injuries. Remember, several offensive linemen were out, and they had to shuffle the offensive line around. And then they had injuries at receiver, and so John Beck didn't have any consistency there. And then Beck didn't perform well. And all those things piled up into a huge losing streak. Well, all of a sudden, the young players who had to perform during that time have rounded into pretty good players right now. They've gotten some experience. They've gotten used to playing with one another. And now that Grossman is back in there, Grossman is playing with his usual gunslinger confidence, but with a group around him that's much better than it was during the middle of the season because of that experience.
You said the Giants were hot coming in. Well, they were hot offensively. Defensively, they stink.
Well, sure, yeah, but that's what I mean. Eli Manning's already thrown for over 4,000 yards.
That's what I was going to ask you. I mean, Eli Manning in the 2 games against the Redskins, 4 picks, no touchdowns. What did they do yesterday defensively to stop that Giants team?
Yeah, a couple of things. One was that they did a lot of disguised coverages. There were injuries in the defensive backfield, especially at safety, where starter LaRon Landry is now on injured reserve, and Oshimago Otagwe is limited by injury. So they had rookie DeJon Gomes in there playing one safety, and they had veteran Reed Doughty playing the other safety most of the time. And Doughty is gimpy with injuries right now, so he's playing through some limitations. And you figured that Eli Manning would attack them, and he did. But what they did on defense was shift everything around, so it would look like one defensive coverage pre-snap and turn into a different one. And that's one of the things that they've been able to do is they've gained experience from some of the younger defensive backs, that they've been able to get more complex with their defensive calls, and it really messed up Eli Manning. That, combined with Hakeem Nicks, the receiver of the Giants, dropped 2 touchdown passes. Now, that didn't hurt.
I was reminded this morning, Trevor, that we may be creeping up at 5-9 right now. We may be creeping up on a 7-win season, which I believe was the number I chose at the beginning of the year. Can you verify that for me?
Mary Catherine, that's a very good possibility. This team is actually playing really well with a lot of confidence and a lot of fight. And you're right, you might be the one that's closest of all of us.
But Trevor, if they do that, aren't they screwing up their chances in the draft?
Hey, let's focus on me being right for 1 second. Okay. All right, now you can move on.
Now I give you your due kudos. But I mean, really, long term, it could be the worst thing in the world for them to win.
Well, people make that, that's something that'll shake out. And you're right. I mean, the more they lose, the higher they pick. And this year that could matter because the higher they pick, the more likely they'll get one of those top 3 quarterbacks.
Right.
In Andrew Luck of Stanford, USC's Matt Barkley, or Robert Griffin III, the Heisman Trophy winner from Baylor. But at the same time, what you're seeing here is a group that had every reason to tank it this year. And they've done just the opposite. Just take a look at the last minute of the game. when the Giants were trying to score their only touchdown of the game on the goal line.
Couldn't do it.
The Redskins defense was playing like it was the Super Bowl and tried to make a goal line stand.
I was impressed by
But
that.
just flip it around for a second. How do the Giants lay such an egg in a game like that? And they're on their home turf, knowing that they need to win in order to get into the playoffs. I guess they still control their own destiny, but just a horrible performance like that. How does that happen to a football team?
Yeah, Brian, I'll tell you, that in some ways it's inexplicable from a standpoint of Hakeem Nicks. You know, I said on the postgame show on Comcast Sportsnet that with Chick Hernandez and Brian Mitchell that, you know, the answer to the question of how the secondary stopped or how the defense stopped Eli Manning was that it was a combination of great defensive play teamed up with the receiver Hakeem Nicks of the Giants messing up. So give them credit for playing well on defense, but also the Giants didn't play well. Now, how does that happen? I think most of it you've got to give credit to the defense.
A couple other real big surprises this weekend beyond the Redskin game. I mean, Green Bay lost to the Kansas City Chiefs, the third worst offense in the NFL, and the Colts actually won one without Peyton Manning at the helm.
I know. Listen, I'm more surprised that the Colts won a game.
Yeah.
I mean, they were on such a slack. Keep in mind that the undefeated 1972, I think, Miami Dolphins.
That's right.
Every year they get together and have a party and break champagne when the last undefeated team loses, because they wanted to be the only one. Well, this time it looked like they might not be able to do it this year, but they did. Yeah, Green Bay just shows how hard it is, no matter how good you are, to win every single game in this league.
Yeah.
Well, and what was it? Which season was it? The Lions, the 0-16 Lions, also preserving their record.
Yeah,
since the Colts.
yeah.
Colts managed to rack a win.
Look at that. I mean, what a crazy weekend, though.
Yeah.
For goodness sake, the Green Bay loses, the Colts win. The Redskins have a dominant performance against the Giants in New York. I mean, what Chick Hernandez says is, you know, he's going to go home and kiss his family because certainly the world is coming to an end.
Our hell is about to freeze over. That's right.
Yeah, it's a snowball someplace unusual right now.
All right, well, we'll talk to you on Friday then, where we expect the Redskins to win against the Vikings at home.
Isn't that crazy?
I know.
The Redskins won a football game. I have to get my brain wrapped around it. It's nuts.
All right, Trev. Talk